welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be going over the books that I read in the year 2021. If you've seen any of my bullet journal setup slash flip through videos, then you already know that I love to read and I have a passion for creating layouts that I can fill in and keep track of the books that I do end up reading. Last year my goal was to read 12 books, so one book for each month. So this is the spread that I did last year for the books that I was reading. This is all I did myself, and then as I read I filled in the spines. And then over on the other side here we have the books that I read and what my thoughts were on them. Some of them I even gave star ratings. So today we're going to go over each of these individually. Now most of these books I do own, but some of them were ebooks. So if I don't have it on me to show you, I'll put a picture over here. The first book that I conquered last year was The Night Circus. This is by Erin Morgenstern, and oh my goodness, you guys, this book is now one of my favorites. It was absolutely beautiful. The only thing I will warn you is that the summary that you will read on this book, it's actually like nothing like what you're actually gonna read. It's basically gonna tell you it's about two magicians that battle each other in a circus. Really, it's more of the life of the circus, and there's different stories that you'll follow, different characters, and in the end, obviously, everything fits together beautifully, but it's really making the circus a character. So that's a little bit misleading, but other than that, this is an incredible book. If you don't mind sitting through long, drawn-out visual descriptions of what's going on, I thought it was beautiful. I really loved it, and I would definitely read this one again. The next book I read was John Dies at the End. So funny story about this one. I pulled it off the bookshelf, I read a little bit, I bought it, and I finished it in that same day. So this really is a fast-paced, very exciting book. It's witty, it's hilarious, it's just, I couldn't put it down. Just fair warning, it is a little bit weird. I believe I mentioned it in my Creepy Good Books video. This is one of them. This was actually really very, very good, and I would recommend it if you're looking for something fast-paced, witty, kind of bizarre. This was super fun. This next book I read, it's called The Cellar. This one is by Natasha Preston. So there's quite a few books out that she has written. I've only written this one, and I wasn't super impressed. Yeah, I put down that the writing was a bit childish. Very YA, not one I would recommend. Yeah, it was just a little lacking for me in emotion, and the way it was written was very cheap, almost childish. So yeah, I'm not really interested in reading the rest of these. For the type of story that it is, the writing wasn't there for me, so I had a hard time with it personally. So next up, I had read The Maximum Ride by James Patterson. This one I had actually read halfway through when I was really young, and I never finished it, and it's always just been kind of something that I wanted to finish. I thought this was pretty good. I mean, the idea behind the characters and their story and all of that, I think was definitely interesting. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I do struggle with young characters in like young adult type novels. If you're really young and you're in the adult world, there are some things that kind of don't usually sit well with me, just because if you're that young, you're probably not going to be doing that in real life. But again, it is a work of fiction, I get that, but there were definitely some scenes in here that I was just kind of like, really? But I mean, it wasn't bad. I would read the next book. I really would. Book 2 maybe. I don't know if I'd get any further than book 2, depending on how it goes. Okay, and then next I read Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. Oddly enough, it wasn't anything like I expected it to be. Most of it was all just emotional drama and storytelling that was put in a way that I just wasn't expecting. It was actually extremely clean. I was expecting a lot more gore and a lot more like vampy like visuals. You do get some of that in here. It is really, really, really good, and I would definitely recommend it if you're into something kind of dark and moody. It's very well written, I will say. I did really like it. Next up, My Best Friend's Exorcism. This one is by Grady Hendrix. So this author is getting some pretty good hits, I think, as of recently. I'd never read any of Grady's stuff before. This was the first one that I read, and since I loved it so much, I have bought some more of this author's stuff just so that I can see what it's like. This book in particular was actually very entertaining. I did really enjoy it. The ending was not what I was expecting, to be honest. I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that, but My Best Friend's Exorcism was definitely a unique take on the theme of exorcism, and it all takes place in the 80s, so can't get any better than that. Next up, I read Eragon. Okie dokie. Everybody's seen this. Everybody's read this one. This is by Christopher Paolini. I had read this when I was younger, but I couldn't remember if I liked it or not. Sadly enough, I think I just read it too fast. So I reread this book, and the only thing about it is I don't remember the writing being so light. If that makes any sense. Like, the story is very battle-filled and mythical, like medieval kind of world with dragons and stuff. The writing wasn't as dense as I remember it being. Maybe that's because I'm older, but rereading it, it definitely felt a lot easier on the mind, if that's even a way to put it. It wasn't packed full of information. It was like you read it and you've read it and you've moved on, and it's like super easy to read. So yeah, that was Eragon. So next I had read Hexed. This is by Kevin Hearne. So Hexed is book 2 in a part of the Iron Druid Chronicles, and I've been really liking these really short books. They're super easy to read, they're fast, and it really makes you feel like you've accomplished something when you finish them because they are so short and easy to read. This book was good, not as good as the first book, unfortunately, but it was still good. I still read the whole thing. The humor is great, it's real good fun, it's just a light, easy to read book, and I do have book 3, so the next time I want to read something light and humorous, I have that waiting for me. So next I read Winterkeep, and I actually read this one as an ebook. I love Kristen Cashore's books, especially the trilogy, Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Now it is no longer a trilogy. This book is book 4. It's been years since she's written anything, and then finally this book came out and I had to have it. But unfortunately, they redid the covers of all the books, and the covers look like this now, but they used to look like this. So, much to my dismay, I did not want to buy it, because if I were to buy it, I'd have to buy the old books all over again just so that they match. I really preferred the older covers better, but besides all of that, Winterkeep was actually not good. It was just so political. The whole thing is politics from beginning to end, just politics. And then the adventure didn't exist. There was like no adventure compared to her other stories. Graceling, shout out to Graceling. This book is incredible. If you want an adventure, you want a strong heroine and a plot twist at the end with a little hint of a love story, Graceling. Just read Graceling. This is like one of my most favorite books, and it has been for a very long time. But since I do love this book so much, Winterkeep was a huge disappointment, and I'm actually really glad I didn't buy it as a physical copy, because it really would not have been worth it to put it next to the others, because it just, you know what, let's just move on, okay? Let's just keep moving. So next, as an ebook, I read The House of Hollow. This book really was engaging. The beginning was really slow and you kind of had to get through it, but it was very unique and it had a little bit of creepiness to it, which was absolutely amazing. After I had finished this book, I almost shed a tear. Almost. I was really close to shedding a tear. I was, but I didn't. I pulled myself together. It was very, very well done, and I would definitely recommend this book, especially if you're looking for something unique, kind of dark and eerie. This one was good. Okay, so since I liked House of Hollows so much, I immediately just went on and bought the ebook for this author's other book that she had written. She wrote a semi-definitive list of worst nightmares. Yeah, definitely not as good as House of Hollow, but it was interesting. It was kind of cute. You follow these two characters around as they go through this list of fears, basically. It's not really something I would recommend just because it wasn't really good. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't really good, if you know what I mean. Next up, I read, also as an ebook, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, a lot of you are probably going to hate me for saying this. I didn't like it. It just wasn't something that I was interested in. Like, it was very predictable, and considering I already didn't care for the main character, for some reason the emotional attachment just wasn't there for me. So I know a lot of you love this book. I think there's like a cult following for the series. That's great, that's great. You guys can love it. There's nothing wrong with that. I personally really struggled with it. I did buy the second book as an ebook just because I wanted to try and see if it got better. But it really didn't, so I haven't finished it yet. I know, I'm so bad. That's okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, that was all 12 books that I read of 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed my brief little run through of those. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you have any recommendations, suggestions, or even opinions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Oh, check out my channel. I do have other videos up there, some more bookish type videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye bye.